Welcome everyone. This should be a very interesting episode because back in the scenes, we've had some fun coming into this one. But hello, I'm Terry Palma. I'm joined with Bev and Royse, and this is Conscious Gatherers, episode 45. Ladies, you with me?
Good evening.
Good evening, and welcome everybody. We appreciate your listening to what we have to share today, and we look forward to hearing back from you, any questions, any comments, or whatever. We obviously prefer to keep it clean and whatever. So, not sure why I'm saying that, but I'm hearing that from other people. So, but welcome. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah. So, we are in a good mood tonight. Let me tell you, we've been giggling and having fun and actually talking about a new platform that we're thinking about instigating, Clubhouse. I'm sure that most people have, not everyone, but it's a new app on the phone, and there's rooms on topics you can go in and listen to. You have to be invited by somebody initially, but then you can go anywhere you want. It's an interesting platform. I've been going in and out probably every day for the past 2 weeks into different rooms, and learning a lot about it. But we might try it at some point, and we will obviously let you know if that happens. So I think, Bev, you had received something sometime today or yesterday, and you're going to start the program by sharing that. Is that correct?
Yes, I did receive this earlier today, and I thought I would share this with you, and it'll give us something to go on today. The title is interesting because it's what I had, that's part of what I received today, is Fasten Your Seat Belts for the Ride of Your Lives. So, how about that?
All right, we're going on a roller coaster.
There you are, the roller coaster ride. So this is the ride of our lives. So fasten your seat belts, everybody. They said, you are on the precipice of new understandings. We're moving out of our current paradigm. Is your call or our call to know that an amazing future awaits us. However, as we move into this new space, and that was in quotation marks, all the shortcomings of the old space are to be completely removed. And the only one who can remove these shortcomings is you. That's each of us. No one can do it for us or for you. Do not despair, though. As you move through these changes, just know that your new space will be beyond anything you now comprehend. The freedom you will feel will be enormous, and we are telling you the truth. So, how about that? It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, did any time frame on that, or just kind of open-ended?
It's open-ended. I think each its own.
Interesting.
It depends upon a person letting go of their shortcomings. I usually don't hear that word, shortcomings. But that's really understanding the power that each of us are. And if we're holding back from that power, then we're cutting ourselves short. So to me, that's what that means.
Right. That makes sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah. They further on, they said truth, because they said, and we are telling you the truth. They said, and truth is the next subject we want to expand upon. Right now, many are wondering just what is the truth. I've heard it many times. Like, we're hearing all these different things. What's really the truth? They said, who can we really depend on? And we say to you, this is what I was told, when we say to you, depend upon your very own selves or self. You can listen to others as they explain what they see is happening in your world. And this may catapult you to new understandings. Keep an open heart so you can see yourself more clearly, and a most wonderful feeling will come to you. Is it love? Yes. Is it light? Yes. Is it God? Yes, as you see or picture God in its full essence. It is you, dear ones, who are the movers and shakers, and things are shaking up, are they not? It is your time to move forward into your understandings and knowingness of all the powers you each possess. It is wondrous. However, there will soon be no more wondering what will happen next, for you are the creators of this heaven and earth. Earth is a manifestation of Gaia, so let's remember that. So make no mistake that you have the right to control her body. You don't. You are in this together. So they called themselves, we are the light keepers, we are you, and you are us. And they also said, yes, fasten your seatbelts for the ride of your lives. It is indeed much to behold.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Look forward to that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a lot of things that they brought up in there, and maybe one of them that I've been thinking about, I always think about, and I feel that there might be a misconception, a misunderstanding of the concept, and if we clarify it, everything might come into perspective. So let me explain. So in the Western Bible, in the Western religion, we have the Bible and its various versions, but in all the versions, it says, and we were created in God's image. So I'm asking you, ladies, what is your take on we are created in God's image?
Go ahead. You want to answer? Okay.
And if you don't answer, that's fine too. I just, I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah, it's not a physicalness because we are that. And so I guess we are that. It is physical, but we're more than this physical body. So we are that God essence. And what I read earlier was like, yeah, this full God in its full essence. We are that, and it's for us to remember that is exactly what we are. And that's when we really know the power that we are. And that's power within, and that's with love, gratitude, compassion, all those wonderful things that we truly are. And that's not power over anybody else. It's just the power within. And if everybody uses their power and doesn't cower to whatever some of the stuff that's going on in the world, and they stand up, which is happening too, that we're starting to see some major changes, but other changes coming forth. So go right ahead, Terry.
All right. Hey, Royse, do you want to chime in on that before I comment?
Well, the way I look at it, there have been different gods represented in text, and not all of them are in a spiritual sense. I believe that we have had visitors who came here before who did manipulations of what was already here, and who came before them and seeded this planet with certain types of life. And the ones who manipulated the life that was here, they recreated in their image, inserted their DNA into the life that was here, so that what they were helping to create or recreate was in their image. And that's not belittling the spiritual sense of God, because when I say the word God, it's with all capital letters, and it's a meaning that is so immense that I cannot put it into words. It's beyond words, beyond limitation.
Yeah. Well, interesting. So I like to keep things pretty simple and really home down into something that I can grasp onto that makes sense to me. And so as I've been playing with that and thinking about it, a clear expression came to me, and you all both hit on it exactly to your degrees. When God created us in his image, okay? In the image of God we were created, however you word that. Well, God, the infinite creator, created everything that is and is everything that is. There's nothing else. So when we are created, as that's stating, it's a very simple thing. We were created as creators. As God created the playground in which we play, okay, the universe and everything in it, we create our universe and our experiences and what we play in, okay? So it's as simple as that. By being created in the image of our Creator, he made us equal in creation. We weren't the creator, but we are creators. And everything we see in our universe, everything we experience on a daily basis, everything we feel is a result of what we, given our creating ability, created for our experience and for everyone around us within their experience that they've created. Does that make sense? That's just my point of view. I'm not, that's just how I interpret it. To me, it fits. And the only thing that it could be that we're likeness is that we are creators and one with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well said. I agree with you totally on how you explain that. And the way we explained it too. It's all encompassing, all within the one.
What happens is when we start thinking of the phrase in God's image, we start thinking of people, and we know that God is not a physical form. God could take a physical form if infinite source chose to. But those that in physical form, the Buddha, Jesus, those entities, they were in line in oneness with the infinite creator and were able to do stuff. And remember, if this is everything that's created is a virtual reality, because remember, the only thing that's real is the infinite source and creator. Everything else is in that creation, in that virtuality, playing and creating within that constraints, in those frameworks, in that game, let's say, in that virtual reality that he's created for us. And that's why, and I'm not to minimize, but miracles happen because when someone realizes that they are in this virtual reality and they have the ability to create, they can create whatever they want, and they can change the circumstances that they found themselves in, and even other people, because if they're in there with them, then you have the creating power to change things. Not through you, small s self, but through you as high s creative self, that the infinite creator is moving through you, keeping the ego out of there.
Yeah,
does that make
dropping
sense?
Self-limitation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it certainly does. Well, I feel we're all we are actually God in form. So again, we're part of the one, part of all that is. I mean, I like to use the word all that is versus God. I guess it's because God can be many things, and if it's the Enlil, Enkill of the Anunnakis who have called themselves God, and some people then have prayed to them as such, and I won't go too far into that, but it's some of these beings have presented themselves as God, as the one and only God, and they're not. So I feel we all are. And you're right, talking about creating your virtual reality, because, you start asking, what's real? And it's whatever we project and decide to experience is real, or at least it's real to us in form. So I think we're making some sense here.
Well, the abstractness of it is is what's so interesting. Because we're in we're in the game. We're in what God had created us to play with and be creators in it, within it. And so that's all we know while we're here, unless we become awakened and realize, oh, wait a minute, there's a lot more going on than we think we think is going on.
Right.
And so once that awareness, and that's what we're doing here in this show as Conscious Gatherers, is to help bring that awareness to there's so much more to you, us individually, and to everything there is. And that's where, belief and faith and the creating process comes in because, remember, there's a lot of phrases. The books of the religious books all have gems of truth in them, but they're hidden in plain sight, okay? And they're hidden where they might not make sense, or if you literally translate them, they're not making sense. But like, knock and the door shall be open. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you will find. Now, I'm not getting biblical here. I'm just saying the truth. You start doing those things and the door's open. You'll find what you're looking for, and all that happens. That all happens out of faith, and belief. Because that's what the creating forces are. Intent, believing something can be done, intending to do it, nurturing it with faith and love, and then wait, and the manifestation will happen. That's basically the creative process, pretty simply put, in those three stages. And you'll find that throughout Neville's teachings. You'll find that through almost all the master teachings, that intent and belief, knowing that you have the thing to do it, seeing it, it's the middle part, nurturing it, seeing it from it already happening, and living at that, feeling that. That's why heart math works so well when you go into the heart and relive something that you believe to be very beautiful and warm and uplifting, and you actually experience it, feel it again. Then those things rush in because you're using your imagination. You have experience. You're going back there. All those points, the tools that are there, all come from intent, belief, nurturing, and then the manifestation comes based on the degree of feeling you put into that.
You can't see me shaking my head, can you? Yeah. Thank you, Terry. This is really good. Boy, when we start these conversations with you all, we're not sure where it's going to take us, and it's really interesting where we have gone with this.
And before we began the podcast, Bev and I were talking about. I was sharing with Bev about how my artwork has helped me to understand a bit more fully the creative process. I can, on my computer, with a flat screen, by way of whatever color I choose as my background, and then putting a shape on top of that background and adding gradient colors to it, I can make a flat two-dimensional image appear as though a sphere has popped out. So it's like creating three-dimensional out of the two-dimensional. So, you apply that to what we're talking about here, and it's like drop the limitation of, no, I can't do that, to, yeah, it's as easy as creating an image, and my mind sees it as becoming a three-dimensional something. And, as part of the creative process to manifest it.
Yeah, you mentioned 3D in that, and by the way, you all need to see Royse's artwork. It's absolutely fantastic, inspiring, and at some point we need to put a website up that she has this, because the artwork is just stunning. But the 3D, imagine, I don't know how it works, or I've never even seen one, but a 3D printer. You put in something, a program in written form on words on a piece of paper, a plan, and you put it into this physical printer, right? And all of a sudden, a physical object comes out the other side. Now, that's pretty amazing. But you know what? That had to be created in someone's mind. They had to know that.
And
they had to realize
think that they can do that. Excuse me, Terry.
No.
And
so go ahead.
And to think that they can do that.
All right, one at a time. Go ahead, Terry.
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, and to think that they do that with living tissue now. They replicate organs. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Blows my mind.
Oh, it is. Oh, a couple of other things we're talking about today, and I'm going to tell you about another of my visions today. But we were talking about, just our physical eyes, because it felt different today.
Yeah.
That happens every so often, but a good part of the day just felt different. And, to try to even explain it more than that, it was, I don't know how to explain it, beyond words. But anyways, that's that. But we're talking about seeing through our physical eyes. And so those that study the body, as the image goes in through your eye into your optical nerve, and then it's projected in the back of your brain, I believe, and then we see it upright, even though it may come in a different way. Does that make sense? So, in other words, what we see, it's through the eyes, but it's not in the eyes. So that's another way of looking at the whole reality.
Yeah. Yeah, and like seeing the image that I was talking about created on the computer out of 2D, the 3D appears. The mind is doing that. And the ancients told us that it's all mind stuff. So once we really grasp that, then I think it'll be a snap to see those miraculous things, thinking that, oh, I'd love to have an apple, and there it appears in your hand. Mm-hmm. The only barrier, I believe, is the mind.
Mm-hmm. We could do this, and we're learning how to do it. We're, again, wonderful beings and incredible powers that we have. Well, what I was seeing, this afternoon, I was seeing, using the mirror. And as each of us look into the mirror, I was seeing only the clear reflection. So if it was me, I was seeing a clear reflection of my physical self. But I noticed in the background in the mirror was all these, there were people and events going on, and they were all fuzzy, like a background fuzzy. But the only clear part was my physical self. So I thought, well, that was kind of interesting to take a look at that. Mm-hmm. The rest is, as Terry, you were talking about some of the stories of the plays and the various games, the other words that you were using earlier. That's exactly what's playing in the background. So they're, what we're seeing is all part of each of our stories, and we're in that story too.
What would be interesting, Bev, as an experiment, if you could do that, look into your mirror, and I'm suggesting this, and like a lens, and you see on the TV when there might be someone talking, and then in the background there's another, and the focus, the person in the front goes out of focus, and the focus goes onto the background. It'd be interesting to change your focus to focus on what's going on in the background in your mirror.
Okay. Yeah, it is like TV because they are usually fuzzed out. So
fuzz yourself out and tune in what's going on behind you. Maybe they were trying to show you that today.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Here's some of the other things that I was told, that the ice is about ready to break. Talking about fasten your seatbelts for the ride of your lives. They said the ice is about ready to break, and that soon that we're going to see through all the muck. And we've used that word on these podcasts, M-U-C-K. that has been shown before us. And the players are and are stepping down, and their games are ending. And that was it. So a lot of this control, manipulation, and the things that we talked about in our last podcast, and a lot of those people are stepping down. So if we want to focus on that, like in the mirror, for instance, then we'll be able to see it. But at the forefront is ourselves. So that's what we can see clearly. We know our paths, and then everything else playing out is how we see ourselves in this virtual reality or matrix.
Yeah, and I think when we see ourselves clearly, then we play our part. We're true to our own path. We benefit everybody and everything else because of that. But if we lose that focus on what we're here to do, then it falls apart. That part of the support is missing.
So we're seeing ourselves clearly. Again, these wonderful, powerful beings that we already are. That's how this started out is like some of those shortcomings in our old space, and put that in quotation marks. What does that even mean? But it's where we see ourselves as linear, and but those shortcomings, we're removing them, and we're the only ones in charge of our own stories. Correct? So we can remove those shortcomings, but we got to be able to see what they are and not point the finger at any of these fuzzy people or fuzzy events. How about that?
That's interesting, how you both took the background and the fuzziness in the background. That's not how I was interpreting it. I was interpreting it that's what's going on beneath what you see on yourself, maybe in the subconscious and stuff, coming to consciousness. And if you focused on it, it might lead you to some awareness or some direction or stuff. That's kind of interesting how we all had different angles on that. Both of them are correct. It's just how you're seeing them. And that's how I saw it, to get more clarity on the direction of the person looking in the mirror based on what background's going on. Interesting.
Yeah, and you pointing that out, that we all have our own perspectives. It's the same story, but we're looking at it from three different angles, So we have our own perspectives of what we're looking at. It's like, it reminds me of that mast bell from the movie White Squall. On the bell were the words, "Where we go one, we go all." It's all the same story. We're each playing our part. Oh, let's do it together. There isn't anything wrong with either part. It's all one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is interesting how we all are perceiving this, because it's a lot of it's coming as I'm talking now, versus what I was seeing earlier, but it just gives us a deeper understanding of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the ways of looking at it. Love it.
Well, who know we'd go there?
But isn't it neat to be able to speak freely and to voice our own opinions peacefully and respectfully?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And we encourage everyone and welcome everyone to come and speak their truth here in question and answer. We might have one person on the line, and if we do, and if you have a question, please speak up. We'd love to hear you, because I did hear a beep come in, and I'm not sure what that was or who that was. So if there's anyone on the line joining us live, you're welcome to chime in and ask a question. All right.
Okay.
So with that, I think we'll close the session for this evening. Our next session will be on the 13th of July. If I go to the right page, yes, the 13th, and it'll be number 46. So with that, I'd like to say good night and thank you for being here. Ladies, say good night.
Well, good night. Fasten those seatbelts because we're in for a ride, and it's really understanding ourselves much more deeply. So here we go.
I love you all, and I thank you for staying. You are so beautiful and so important.
Thank you both, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.